So every day, this president is doing something concerning, to put it mildly, concerning to those of us who care about constitutional systems actually running our democracy. Let's go through some of those and contextualize them in such a way that we have a sense of what is required on the part of every citizen in order to push back against this assault on democracy as we know it. We all know, of course, what happened when the president called Governor Greg Abbott of Texas and said, I need 5 new congressional seats. So what he's talking about is the midterm elections in 2026. Now, both parties gerrymander, but this is like gerrymandering on steroids, that you just say, get me more seats. So 50 Democratic lawmakers actually fled the state in order to make sure that the Republicans could not have the quorum that they needed in order to create this problem. They fled to Illinois. Now, know exactly what's going on here. Trump is not planning to just stop with Texas. He wants to go in Missouri and Ohio are also states where he can do this. Gavin Newsom is saying, you do this, I'm going to do this. Kathy Hochul in New York, the governor there, has said she's going to fight back on this, but she couldn't make anything happen because of their state constitution for the 2026 midterms. Who can, however, is Governor Pritzker of Illinois. He's really being strong. He is giving safe haven to these Texas lawmakers in Illinois while this is going on. So know that that's happening. Also know, you probably do know these things, but it's good to just name them and we know exactly what's going on. Then, of course, the president didn't like the job statistics. So what he does is he shoots the messenger, right? So he fired the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, a very nonpartisan person. He didn't like the numbers. He said, oh, they're partisan. So he fired that woman so that he can put in his own person. Then on the government website, where we have the U.S. Constitution, that people could read the Constitution, know what their rights are. In Article 1, Sections 8 and 9, there are things just missing, such as power of habeas corpus, the congressional power over the military, taking money from the Treasury. The president isn't supposed to just be able to take money and do what he wants, and congressional authority to create tariffs. So he's basically ruling, look at all these executive orders. A president isn't supposed to just rule by executive orders. Even there's an old tape of President Trump himself saying that when Obama was president. So he's doing that, coupling that with doing everything possible to destroy the power of Congress. And of course, a lot of Congress people are giving him the authority to do that. In both parties, what's happened over the last few decades is that statesmen have been replaced in their power with operatives and donors. We are in a political war. We are in a political war. Our tools, our weapons are not guns, are not acts of violence at all. They are ideas, they are strategies, and it starts with information such as the information that we are discussing today. You need to know what's going on. That's a basic element in nonviolent political philosophy. So you probably have already heard the president decided to federalize law enforcement functions in Washington, D.C. as of last night. There are now 800 National Guardsmen who have been sent to the nation's capital. Plus, he got about 150 FBI agents that he gathered up from Philadelphia, New Jersey, and other places to come into Washington to guard the streets at night. As I said, this is full-on war on our constitutional system. By the way, it is being waged by people who know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. People like Stephen Miller, he knows exactly what they're doing because they do not find a constitutional system of American democracy convenient to their purposes. They don't like it. They don't like it. They don't like the multiculturalism. They don't like the basic freedom because they think that there are a few people who should basically call all the shots. Now, what I find is not that people are ignorant of what's going on here, because if you don't know the things that I've said to you today, or at least in general, then there's a willful ignorance. The problem is a lot of people are going, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? So I want to mention something about the American Revolutionary War. One of the reasons the Brits lost was because they were fighting a 17th century war in the 18th century. Their idea of warfare was you line up a bunch of soldiers in red coats and they all wait for someone to go fire. The problem is for them, or was for them, that the Americans had been around Native American Indians who just jump out from behind trees. It is time for you and me. Old think is things like, well, the Democrats need to get their stuff organized. Listen, there are some Democrats and Republicans actually who are being very brave right now. When you look at people like those governors that I mentioned, when you look at some of the senators and what they're saying and what they're doing, when you look at some of these judges, some of whom are Republicans, they were appointed by Republicans, I think we're seeing a lot of heroism right now. We're seeing a lot of heroism when people are showing up around those ICE agents trying to prohibit some of these horrifying transgressions and cruelties, some of the content that's being created. It's not that there's not heroism, but the heroism has to be on the part of we, the people. One of the reasons we're in this mess is because we farmed out our own critical thoughts and we farmed out our own sense of the power of citizenship. You know, somebody said to me today, well, the Democrats need to find a leader. The leader is every American who says, hell no, not on our watch. That's the leader. Political guerrilla warfare means at this time, wherever you are, do what you can do. Political guerrilla warfare at this time, I'd like to repeat, means wherever you are, do what you can do. You know, in the forest, you go into the forest, there's a poison. Nature is such a perfect ecosystem that the antidote to the poison is right there, just a few feet away. And that's what's happening now. If you're in New Hampshire, handle New Hampshire. If you are in South Carolina, help Annie Andrews. I mean, there's so many places where you can get involved. Whatever it is, whatever state, there are things going on. Find out what's going on in your city. Find out what's going on in your state. Do not wait for a political party. Listen, just assume other people are doing what they can, but don't take direction. It's not about waiting for taking direction. That's one of the ways we got into this mess. I do want to mention one thing. I was with a gentleman in a situation that was happening this week, and you know, God bless him. We were involved in a very sad personal thing around someone whose life was someone who was passing away. And this older gentleman was actually lovely in the way he showed up. He's a big Trump supporter. And I was reminded of a line from Martin Luther King: you have very little morally persuasive power with people who can feel your underlying contempt. So I heard this gentleman, I heard a relative of his who is a Democrat who wants nothing to do with him, will not talk to him, et cetera, because he's a Trumpster. That's not the answer here. Moral persuasion is the answer here. Just keep posting, keep speaking. Every party has to look at the mote in its own eye. All of us have to look at the mote in our own eye. Do what you can. Do what you can in your own area, in your own life. But saving your democracy at a time like this is not a part-time job. Citizenship can't be just waged over white wine and brie. And it can't be waged by a bunch of political operatives who thought they knew so much. No, they didn't, and no, they don't, but you do. You know your town. You know the people that are around you. What you don't know, find out about your state, what's happening now, and how you can help. There has to be a wave, a massive wave of intention, a massive wave of conviction, a massive wave of commitment. Hell no. No, watch. Thanks.